So fossil fuels aren't just something we have. Fossil fuels are the reason that we have civilization. Take them away, and countries collapse. And the Biden administration doesn't appear to realize that, or maybe they do realize that, but they're doing it anyway. They just announced a $1 billion fund for something called climate reparations, because you have sinned against the climate. You discriminated against the climate. So the idea is to send money, your money, to other countries, because apparently we have too much money now, our debt isn't big enough, countries that have, quote, suffered damages due to the use of fossil fuels. But here's the best part. The country that uses the most fossil fuels, that emits the most pollution, that dumps the most plastic into our ocean, killing the most marine life, that kills the most fish with factory fishing, the country that seems almost determined to destroy the planet, that would be China, is exempted from the reparations. That's because China, which has a bigger economy than ours, the biggest in the world, is, quote, a developing nation. So that's like the definition of insanity. Victor Davis Hanson is a senior fellow at the Hoover Institution, one of the smartest people we know. He joins us tonight to assess this. So China, the world's biggest polluter, pays no, quote, climate reparations. And we, who have a smaller, I think officially smaller economy than China now, we pay the reparations. How does this work?
Well, 40% of the people in the world live in India and China, and they're full bore on coal and natural gas, and they're not going to switch. So if this is just a virtue signal that's empty. And we should remember, Tucker, that we have $50 billion leaving this country in foreign aid every year. We have almost 50 million people living here that weren't born in the United States. They send out $60 billion in remittances. We don't even tax it. It's the most generous policy in the world. And it's all based on this idea that the Industrial Revolution of 200 years makes us guilty for carbon, when in fact it was the greatest boon that humans have ever experienced. It gave the third world, or the non-West, the green agricultural revolution, pharmaceuticals, high-tech, cars, and made life affluent and leisured to a degree never imagined, with no research and development in these developments. It was just wholesale, jump-started into the 21st century based on fossil fuels. And you know, the problem with Afghanistan is the Taliban. The problem with Cuba is communism. It's not a coal plant in Pennsylvania. When you don't have private property, free market economics, consensual government, and you're stuck with tribalism and corruption, you're going to have problems. But it's not climate change. If these guys want a virtue signal or bi-coastal elite, let them just outlaw private jets for a year, or maybe Jeff Bezos and Zuckerberg and Gates can raise some money and give $3 or $4 billion and feel better about themselves. But don't do that expiation of guilt on the backs of the middle class that they really don't know whether to buy food or fuel every day.
I don't know how we wound up with a country that's run by people who hate the country. I mean, that can't work, can it?
Yeah, it is. They're never subject to any of the consequences of these utopian bromides. I mean, why have heated pools in Beverly Hills? Why is John Kerry on his Gulfstream? You don't need to do that. But this is a very cheap way of having a transnational body to pick victims and victimizers. And it's going to be staffed eventually by people like Venezuela, Nicaragua, Cuba, that are not constitutional systems. And you know what that's going to lead to.
Oh, I do. What we have now. Victor Davis Hanson, thank you so much for that dark but accurate portrait.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.